Hello everybody, welcome back to another Expeditions Guide. Today we're taking a look at 2 is a lucky number. This is an expedition in the Transylvanian Alps. This expedition is unlocked after completing outdoor activities, and you do need to have a metal detector on your truck in order to do this expedition. So we're going to be using the Traun BR-0D, and if you have any questions about my vehicle loadout, you will find that in the description below. Along with the required equipment, I am also going to be bringing a Nishida, the drone operator specialist for the Explore the Area task, along with a set of anchors, jack screws, and an extra canister of fuel that I have in the sideboard beds of the Traun. So let's talk a little bit about what we're doing. So we're starting here at the Northwest Outpost, and we're going to make our way through the mountains, all the way down over here, all the way up through these mountains and up into this area where we're going to explore the area. Once we finish exploring the area, there's going to be a cave entrance right here. We're going to head into the cave, and once we get into the cave, we'll talk a little bit more about what we're doing in the cave, and then we'll just continue from there. So that's kind of the path we're taking to start off with. The first thing we got to do is get to our mission area. So let's go ahead and begin. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and just drive right on out of the outpost here, down the hill and over these rocks. And right on through the snow here. Once we make it through the snow, we're going to head to the right and start making our way off of this mountain. It is a very tricky descent. There's a lot of roots and rocks and things like that, so we're just going to very carefully maneuver around them and over them where we need to, and just try to maintain the balance of the vehicle as we make our way down this hill. Once we get down to the bottom, we're going to kind of follow the path around to the left to get up into the forest there. And we're just going to follow this grass path right around here just a little bit. Then we can cross over. There's a little bit of snow here. It shouldn't slow us down too much. Actually slowed us down a lot more than I thought it would, but that's okay. From here, we're going to go right up this hill. We're going to head off to the right side here and go right in between these trees. And from here, we're going to go right around these rocks and over the snow. Definitely a good place to go ahead and turn those tire pressures down just for a little bit more traction through this deeper snow. Here we're just going to stay in the snow just because we already have the pressures low. And from here we're going to go right around the bog here. So we're going to go right on through the middle here. Right on up through here. And right here we can cut in between these stumps. That'll get us through the bog. And from here we're going to go right through the snow and in between these trees here. That's going to bring us down the slope. And again, just keeping those pressures low, just so that we have as much traction as we can through the snow and the mud here. And what we're going to do is get right up onto the grass here and go ahead and turn those pressures up for a moment. And then cut right back through the snow. And just get right around these trees here. Just going to make our way right on over these dips in the snow. And we're just going to kind of follow this path that kind of winds through the mountains. If you stay right on the edge of this rock here, you can get up on there and get a little bit of traction. We're just going to make our way right on through these rocks. And the same thing here, we're going to just get up on the rock just a little bit just to get out of the deeper snow. Right over this little snow pile here. And then continue through the mountains. So this is another good area. We're going to go ahead and turn those pressures down just so we can get through this snow. And we can go ahead and turn those pressures back up. And then we just got to make our way through this next little bog here. And I'm just going to try to stay on the edge of this as much as I can. That's going to get us out of the deep mud, give us a little bit more traction as we make our way through this. Once we get past the bog, we got to go through this little snow pile here and make our way through these trees. And then we're just going to go right on through the clearing here. There's a couple of rocks and some snow to go through. It's another good spot to go ahead and turn those pressures down through the deep snow. Once we get through the snow, we can go ahead and put those pressures back up. And we're going to go right around this big pile of rocks here. And we're just going to make our way through the cliffs here. This is a bit of a tricky spot here. Just a lot of rocks and uneven terrain and some deep snow here. But you can see there's a gap just ahead of us here that's kind of flat. We're going to go right through that. And from here, we're going to make our way right on over to that big cluster of trees right ahead of us. A couple of deep spots of snow to just kind of work through. They're small enough that you don't necessarily have to turn the pressures down. You can if you want to, but with these smaller deep spots, I find it just a little bit easier to just keep the pressures up, just kind of slowly work your way through it. And from here, we're going to head up this hill and around these trees. And up ahead, this is going to be the tough spot. This is going to be some very deep snow that we're going to be crossing through. So we want to get those pressures as low as we can get them. Just kind of push your way through the trees here, just so that we can get up on this upper section of the drift here. There's a lot of pitfalls and slanted terrain there, so if we just stay up on the upper right side here, that'll give us a little bit more stability going through this area. It is kind of a slow crawl, but this Traun is more than capable of just getting through here. Maybe not very quick, but it'll get through here. So because we're in the deep snow, we're going to try to avoid the trees as much as we can. We should be able to get right in between this tree and the bush here. And we're just going to go up on this hill on the right side here. And now we get to work our way down. So just right on through the snow there. I was kind of contemplating on if I should put the pressures up because we were getting to a flat area, but then yeah, we're getting back into the deep snow anyway, so we'll just take it nice and easy just so we don't damage the tires with the lower pressures. And right on down at the bottom of the hill, we've got another bog to go through. This one we're just going to cut right on through it. There's just too many trees and too steep of a banking to run around the edge of it for this one. And once we're through the bog, we can climb right on up here. And again, we're just going to manage our speed because we still have those lower pressures because we have another big snow pile to go through here. And right here, we're going to go ahead and just snake our way through the rocks. Taking it nice and easy. And right up through the rocks here. Once we get up here, we can go ahead and put those pressures back up. And we're just going to go ahead and make our way down the hill here. We are approaching our search the area. So we're going to go right on down to the left here through this little gully. Just make our way through this little swampy puddle here. And right up here is going to be a good spot to go ahead and do some drone scanning. So as you can see, we just need to unveil this area right around us here. So we're going to go ahead and jump in the drone. And we're just going to go ahead and fly right on over to the mountain here. And we're just going to circle around this big, open, crater-looking area here. As you can see, we are right on the edge of the map, so you're probably going to get that out of range artifacting. Just, it happens when you are flying the drone a little close to the edge of the map there. We're just going to loop around. Through here. And then back to the middle, and there we go, that is complete. So, next up, we're going to go ahead and make our way into the cave. Before we do that, we can go ahead and top off our fuel, because we've burned up quite a bit of it getting over here. So, what we're going to do is just continue to drive forward here. Go ahead and put those pressures back down again. And we got a couple of puddles to go through on the way to the cave. Just going to make our way right on through these. And we can go ahead and put those pressures back up. We're out of the deep mud and snow for now. And this is going to be a tricky spot to get to, trying to get into this cave. We need to go right on the edge of this little rock platform here. And then head right on into the cave. As I said before, I hope this path will lead us to our goal. So we're going to make our way up into the cave entrance. Once we get to the entrance, go ahead and enter the cave. Alright everybody, welcome to the cave. We have just a couple of things to do in this cave. So what we're going to do is follow this tunnel all the way down and head into this little room here. While we're here, we're also going to build this bridge just for ease of access later, because the construction point is only on this side of the cave, and that's going to save us some access later on. So this is pretty straightforward. It's just a straight tunnel down into the room. So let me show you how it's done. So the first thing we're going to do is just continue to drive forward, and as you can see, it is just a straight tunnel. There are no branching paths or anything like that in this section of the cave, so it's going to be pretty straightforward here. So we're just going to go ahead and follow the path, follow the tunnel, over these rocks, and steep ledges. Just make our way right on down. And there's our waypoint here, so we're going to go ahead and hit that. Can we simply build our own bridge here? Might come in handy later. And that is exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to go ahead and head over here and go ahead and build that bridge, just because that is going to save us some time later. With that bridge built, we can go ahead and head on into the room. And retrieve the artifact fragment. But wait, it's gone. Where's our artifact? We've only been away for a few hours, but it's gone. We must find it quick. So what we're going to do now is head back out of the cave. So we're going to go ahead and just back up and get turned around. And make our way back up out of the cave through the entrance we used to get in here. So it's a little trickier to get out. We're going to have to climb up these rocks and ledges here. But the Traun is still more than capable of doing that. Once we get up out of the cave, we're going to head on through this little swampy puddle and get to the cave exit. Once we get to the exit, you can go ahead and head on out of the cave. Alright, once we get out of the cave, we're going to go ahead and drive forward. And from there, that's going to open up a lot of waypoints, so let me take a moment and I'll tell you about those. Alright, so what we're going to do is there are 3 waypoints here to find the stone gear. We're looking for this one right here. So that's where we're going to head, is right on over to this one. These other 2, you can just ignore those search areas. We're just going for this search area here, where we will find the stone gear. So we're going to go ahead and just drive on forward and get out of the cave here. And we're basically just going to follow the path back, the one we used to get over here. Just kind of backtrack a little bit just to get where we need. So we're going to go right around the rock ledge here. And around the snow. And now we're going to head right on down through the rocky puddle here. And once we get through here, we can go ahead and put those pressures down because we got some deep snow to cross through. So right on through the deep snow, and that's going to take us right on down into this little trench down here. So we're going to go ahead and cross through this little trench. Once we get through the trench, we're going to head up the hill. And once we get through the snow here, that's going to take us to all the rock maze. And you can actually see right up ahead here, there is the orange search area. That is what we are looking for. So we're going to go ahead and put those pressures back up and make our way through this. We're heading downhill, so we don't have to really worry about the deep snow too much. So just make your way right on over to the orange box. And then you can go ahead and add the stone gear to your vehicle inventory. Once the stone gear is in your vehicle inventory, we need to take this back to the northwestern outpost here. So we're going to go ahead and head to outposts and gates. And go ahead and use our free recovery back to the northwest outpost. Once we get back to the outpost, we're just going to go ahead and drive forward and deliver the gear. And that is going to complete 2 is a lucky number. And that is going to unlock the off-road gearbox for the Haka, as well as that gateway that we just used. You'll now be able to freely use that gateway. So, hope you guys enjoyed this guide. Let me know what you think, and until next time, I'll see you in the wilds. Bye-bye.